We're going to be going over how I was able to grow a small account in 2023 and how you could learn from my experience. So January 1st, I started a small account. I funded it with $10,000. I was able to get 60% return by the end of January. We were able to accomplish this through 3 pillars. We're going to be learning about consistency, discipline, and the system I use to actually trade and find consistency and discipline within my trading. So right here, you're going to see exactly the days I was green, the days I was red, how much I was green, how much I was red for full transparency purposes. Later on in the video, we're going to be diving into my charts and showing you guys there as well, so you can actually see the exact system I used to take these trades. One thing I want you guys to understand is that these results are not typical, especially for smaller accounts. Day trading is very risky. You need to educate yourself on day trading before you actually go ahead and trade. So if this is your first time trading or you're looking to get into trading, I have plenty of beginner videos up as well. Go check those out. So starting off, I really want to go over consistency. On this account that I took from 10K to 16K, you'll see I never had a big green day where I made 5K or got very lucky and hit a big trade like most people think you need in order to grow a small account. Instead, you're going to see that I was actually very conservative with my green days, and that I was actually taking trades, taking small green days and letting them add up over time. And the saying goes, base hits add up, and that couldn't be more true. A lot of people believe that you need to get very lucky to actually hit on a big play and then grow your account. In reality, all it takes is some consistency, discipline, and having a system that actually works for you and building that over time. So here you can see I actually took 2 big red days, starting off when I was still finding my groove. And then after that, I was able to break even and actually be green on one of those weeks where I took one of those big red days. And then I didn't have a single red day until February. I'm recording this February 10th, so it's a little bit delayed, but I want to show you guys the update of this small account by June, and I want to hopefully have it over $50,000 by then. So starting with pillar number 1, consistency. Consistency is often overused in the trading community in order for people to sound smarter or whatever, but consistency is really the root of all good in trading. If you are consistent as a trader, you will be profitable in the long run. Your main goal should not be to make a certain amount of money. It should be to always have consistency throughout your trading. And the only way you'll achieve that is through a system that is designed for you, meaning a trading system where it's a strategy that works for you, a setup that you've seen work for you over and over again, and then you develop that into your own little system that you strictly follow, and no trades are taken outside of that system. That will greatly increase your chances of finding consistency and profitability inside the stock market. Discipline. Now with options, you need very good discipline. Now discipline is learned, and you need to keep working on it as you grow as a trader. You're never going to get to a point where you're so disciplined where you don't need to work on it anymore. It's going to be a constant battle of ups and downs. And that's one thing you really need to understand when you're trading, is that trading is not a linear growth pattern. Instead, trading is one of the most choppy ways to actually become successful. One of the hardest careers out there, but one of the most rewarding as well. With options, you could easily blow your account. You can easily take bigger losses than you ever planned. Discipline comes through a variety of things, and most of it is not trading related. You have to hold yourself accountable. When you're at a job, at a 9 to 5, and your boss tells you not to do something, you're most likely not going to do it. 1, because a person of power told you. Number 2 is because there's consequences if you break that rule. Now, when most people come to day trading, they become their own boss. They don't feel that position of power as their own boss. And another thing is there's no consequences if they break their own rules. Discipline is very, very hard to master. So anytime you see yourself break any of your rules trading, one of the biggest tips I have for actually building discipline is have some consequences for yourself. Maybe you're not allowed to trade the next day. Maybe you have to go take an ice cold shower. Maybe you have to go for a mile run. Do something you don't enjoy doing when you break your rules. The system. So right now we're on the presentation. We're going to be going over just a few things. One of the main things is just zone strength. How do you identify zone strength? Zone strength is not talked about enough. You know, most people, they go in supply and demand zone. They just go everywhere and draw every single zone and try playing it, and they wonder why their system isn't working. So number 1 thing when you're looking for zone strength is look for immediate reactions off a potential zone. So you're not looking for a zone to pretty much, stand there and consolidate. You're looking for it hits a zone or a potential zone area and immediately rejects or bounces, so you know those aggressive buyers and sellers are in there, showing that there's a lot of supply or there's a lot of demand. Now, next thing you want to do is look for large moves off potential zones. So you're looking for minimal wicks and large bodies, meaning you're looking for a lot of selling pressure or a lot of buying pressure. We're going to go over that right now. So here's a little diagram of, strong zones and semi-strong zones and weak supply. We're just basically going over everything. So over here, you're going to see on the strong supply zone, like we mentioned, there's an immediate reaction, right? We're looking to create a zone here. There's an immediate reaction and it takes 2 candles, boom, zone created, okay? Another thing we notice is there's a huge sell candle, minimal wicks and a very large body showing aggressive selling and aggressive supply, meaning that there's still supply left up here. So when it pulls back, there's a greater chance of those aggressive sellers still being there and having orders there and sending it right back down. Now, this is a semi-strong, I'd call it a weaker supply. This is an A+ zone, especially when it's a fresh zone. You're looking for it to reject almost immediately the next time it comes up and, retest the zone. Over here on this semi-strong supply, you have a huge candle and it rejects immediately. Now you'll see here, it's not a huge rejection like this, it's a rejection nonetheless, and it continues down, meaning that there are some sellers here, there's some supply there, but just not as much as the previous one we just went over. And then the weak supply, it moves up there, it consolidates and then starts to leg down. Buyers and sellers are often fighting for control over this area, and next thing you know, sellers take control. But over here, mainly, you would see buyers still were able to put up a fight. You're mainly looking for buyers to get completely liquidated right when it hits that zone. Now for demand, it's the same thing. The weak demand, consolidation, semi-strong demand. There was a few consolidation candles, then a huge move up. Over here, strong demand zone. Right when it touches it, it moves very quickly on up. Now, we're going to be going into the actual chart and looking at what zones could you have played and how to identify strong versus, weak zones and how they differentiate when you come to actually trade them. Now that we have it here, we're going to be looking at the hourly zones and looking for areas where the market created strong zones, weak zones, and just things of that nature. And right now, off the bat, I can just see one right here. You have a supply zone right here. Here's our supply zone here. And you can see it's a very strong zone. Right when the market moved up to the zone, there's a huge sell candle. And when it pulled back, small liquidity grab above and then ultimately rejected back down. Now, if I go into the 5-minute and actually show you guys the action there, you'll see we actually traded all the way into that zone. And now you're probably wondering, Shinobi, why would you short a supply, when there's these huge green candles? My answer to that is you wouldn't. You're looking for confirmation of that zone. You're looking for a reason to enter short. Now, I could, sit here and lie and say, oh, I would have shorted up here and kept a stop at high of day. I wouldn't have done that. I would have looked for a reason for the market to sell off, and I would have personally drew out this uptrend, and once we break that uptrend, then I would have added with a tight stop at the top. So I would have had my stop loss at the high of day, and I would be looking to take profit at certain demand zones on lower time frames, like around here. So that'll give you around 3.4 to 1 risk to reward, and you can see eventually you do get it, and it actually goes way lower. This is almost a 100-point move, just based off, a simple supply setup. And that's what I mean when you're looking for these strong zones. It checks out everything that we just mentioned. There's a strong candle, strong sell candle, and there's, an aggressive, there's a lot of sellers here just because of the candle, how it's formed. Very minimal wicks. There were buyers that stepped up down here, but overall it's a very strong sell candle. There's an immediate reaction, and once you pulled up here, we traded into the zone, broke an uptrend, and gave us 2 confirmations for a setup to the downside. When you're trading supply and demand, a lot of people just buy calls when it hits your zones, buy puts when it hits your supply, and I used to do that a lot too, until I started to realize that not all zones work just because some are stronger than others, and sometimes they're just based off news. So main thing is when you're trading supply and demand, just like any other strategy, have more than just your zones. Have some confluences. Maybe it's an uptrend break, maybe it's a pattern break, maybe your EMAs are rejecting. Whatever the case may be, make sure to have at least one extra confluence to really help you find that A+ setup. Now, if we're looking for another, a weaker zone, I would consider this a weaker zone here, right? Especially if we go on to a larger time frame. You'll be able to see a lot more of these zones that I'm about to mention. So when I mention semi-strong zones, there's very few times you're either going to just have a weak zone or a strong zone. And over here you have a weak zone. You can see we consolidated in this zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 7 touches on this 3-hour candle before it even moved up. into that zone. So when it already came here, we already know there's a lot of, there was a lot of sellers at one point. They kept rejecting it every single time, right? I like to consider it like a pool. There's a pool of sellers at this area, right? Every time they move into it, their shares are sold. Every time you move into it, their shares are sold. And the more you do that, it slowly gets smaller. The pool of sellers gets smaller until one point where there's no more sell orders and it just breaks through, right? Which seems to be the case in this scenario. If we go over here, you'll see we touched it once, twice, consolidated, rejected. We did that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times just off the hourly chart here. 3 hours shows more touches and consolidation. We move here, we get a small rejection. That's only around, I'd say, like 60 points. Not only, that's a lot of points, but just to show you guys, for the video over here, it's consolidated. This zone doesn't last. We don't go and retest this demand that was previously placed here based off of, just our system. It didn't pull back into this demand. It actually didn't pull back into any demand for that matter on the hourly chart. Instead, it bounced and it came here, started to consolidate, which is something you never want to see when you're trading zones. Is you don't want to see consolidation when you're taking a short at a supply zone. Main reason why is because once there's a rejection and if there's sellers there, you want to see an immediate reaction, because that means sellers are present. Once it starts to consolidate, that the more times they retest and consolidate in the zone, the weaker that zone gets, because those sell orders are getting filled and that stock is slowly going to start breaking out. As you can see here, sellers are completely gone. One buy order moves, or buyers are able to move the stock higher and break past that zone. And you can see how different that is just compared to normal supply and demand zones. When you're basing them off of strength, and then you incorporate that into your setup, so you're looking for A+ zones. Now what are those zones? Those are the strong zones we just mentioned. You don't want to trade any of those weaker zones. Like over here we have this weaker zone up here, this consolidation before a big move down, and you see when the market pulled into it, really that's a weak zone. The market moved into it, just created a higher low and moved right back higher, and then started using it as a demand zone. Now there's a reason why your A+ setups aren't A+ setups, and the reason why is because your zones are weak zones or semi-strong zones. You only want to base your A+ setups off strong zones, meaning that those zones have some weight to them, meaning they have sellers, and meaning that they are aggressive, because the second it hits that supply zone, you want to make sure it starts to reject almost immediately, or if not a few minutes after. But you just don't want to be in a position where it previously consolidated and created that zone, because guess what, 9 out of 10 times it's going to consolidate again. So you're looking for immediate reactions, strong candles, and that's what you base your A+ setups off of. And that's what you base your strong zones off of, and use other confluences, whether that be an indicator. I don't use indicators, candle analysis, patterns, whatever it is, to add on to your original thesis of that zone. Once your confluences align with your zone, that right there for me is an A+ setup. It might not be for you, but that's what it is for me. If you guys want me to go over my A+ setup, comment under this video and drop a like, and I'll be doing that very shortly. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Trade safe.